meeting in 10 minutes. We're going to be seeing what their problems are, how we can help them. We're going to let them know that they're going to need a business license. We're only going to authorize a handful of mechanic shops to begin to make sure things are flowing good. Requirements are you need an active staff, right? You're actively repairing. They have the opportunity to be authorized as a to fix Los Santos vehicles at subsidy that the government's we're going to pay back for. We're going to let them know that there will be a 10% tax, and that they're going to need their own bookkeeping, and we will have a system in place. And this goes to the titty stuff, is that that people need to be submitting their how much did you generate this week and their tax money. So we'll have like some tax form that they're going to need to fill. So they're going to,
form?
Yeah, so it's going to be like, they submit, this is our business, it's the week of, and this is how much we made, and this is how much your tax.
Do we have proof that they're not lying?
We can't do that. Like, you know what I mean?
We don't have the tools to even verify
it's not our job to like figure out if they're committing fraud.
We'll be like the IRS. We'll wait for them to fuck up, and after so many years, we'll come after them for all of their worth.
Well, so the thing is, like, it's not the mayor's job to know whether someone is committing fraud or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's like law enforcement. So they're going to be submitting their taxes, right? But if somebody were to, say, commit tax fraud, that's the marshals, the PD, etc., I mean, it could be us, but I don't want us to be looking at their books.
The extent of us would be creating some tax revenue collection legislation of some sort. Maybe not a whole department, but like outline it that add a couple penal code charges, give them the tools. Want to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like, and the thing is, like, if people want to play games, they're going to learn really quickly, right? Because LSPD will be very much empowered to go after businesses. So, and it is in our benefit that they do that, because there's a bunch of fucking people that are going to be doing dumb shit, and they're going to learn really quickly. You know what I mean?
Wait them out so the good taxpayers can have their businesses.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Is Bill Mays okay?
Yeah, he's part of the staff now, as is Mina.
No, I mean right now.
I'm fine. Don't worry about me.
I'm slowly squeezing the life out of him, so he probably won't
She
be
reminds
here.
me of my ex-wife.
Oh, maybe I should get up. Oh.
Just don't pee on him.
Scarlet Winters.
Oh, I could pee on him. You're right.
No, god damn it.
Oh, that's right.
There's one other thing. The shops that are going to be mechanic shops need a minimum sale amount a month. And I don't know what that's going to be, but that needs to be put into place, because we do not want businesses just lingering. So
well, that's why I was wondering about. Sorry, go ahead.
Some of the things when I have people create their business proposal, or I create a proposal on their behalf, is I have them do a projection chart of their like either weekly or monthly net income for the business. And
I think I even included that projection as something that should be included as part of their proposal in the legislation, Evelyn. I agree.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
I don't know what that amount's going to be, but I think that's something that we can derive out of them, is what is a reasonable standard, because at the end of the day, this is the difference between there being 50 mechanic shops in the city versus 0. And while it may behoove us to lean on the side of like, well, let's just get, business after business, that's just idiotic, right? That increases the amount of expectation for taxes coming in. So
I think it would be easier, though, to legislate how often a company needs to be opened as opposed to you need to do X amount of sales where there's so many variable
No.
factors.
I think
Oh,
that
wait,
would
wait,
be
wait, wait,
harder
wait,
to
wait,
track
wait.
than sales count because we can
Nino-
track sales count.
On the lingering front, if you look
Yeah.
at the legislation, I've said that there's going to be a weekly or monthly fee of 50 grand. And if they don't pay that fee, then they lose their license. So there would be no lingering. We cook that right into the registration and licensing process. Right?
Wait, say that again?
If you look at the Big PP Act, I've said that if business accounts are functional, which I believe they are, they're going to need to have 50 grand in there every month to renew their business license. And if they don't have that money in that account, then they're going to lose their license. Effectively, the business is gone. So it doesn't linger.
Yes. I agree. They need to be like minimally functioning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My only question, and I understand this isn't necessarily a major concern, but on the off chance, let's say somebody who doesn't have the, has some trouble getting around the city. Has some
Meeting's not
issues
for
with
another
that.
hour. This is perfect.
Yeah, sorry.
What
No,
would we
no,
do
you're
in the
good.
situation of somebody having trouble getting around so they can't run their businesses easily? What's the solution on that? If
They
Well, they'd
shouldn't
have
have
to
a
staff it.
business. Yeah.
Or they'd have to staff it, right? It's the same with the
Yeah.
food stalls.
I think it's important that we focus on businesses that have value to it, right? Because if we just give a bunch of like I'm just gonna shoot straight. If we give a bunch of people that just like aren't productive business licenses, we need to make sure that we put the functioning entrepreneurs in place and they become the beacon for other people to learn from. Because otherwise we're just going to get a bunch of whiny brats that are going to be like, oh, you know, I want this business license where like people come and like do some useless shit that no one's going to participate in. And then it's going to end up like businesses used to be back in the day where everyone goes around saying, oh yeah, I own a business. And like no one goes to it. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Where do we intend to include stipulations that businesses cannot be run out of residential property?
It's in there already. The Big PP Act. Yeah, there's a whole section on zoning. I think the one thing we do need to consider there are people like artists who maybe they work for a label, but they don't exactly have their own brick and mortar, but they may want to register as a business entity. The same would be like someone like me, right? A creative. Would the expectation be that someone like me would need a brick and mortar location? And I'll be honest, I would argue that the answer is yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Or at least I would have to have a freelance license of some sort, and I would have to pay taxes on revenue in lieu of having a brick and mortar.
We're gonna have to circle around and consider this zoning discussion because, well, that's perfect. People might say things like, "Oh, well, see, this house is on the corner over here, so it's a brick and mortar." Like, you know, how do you distinguish it? I mean, it can't just be by looks alone. Like, oh no, this has roof shingles. You can't use that. You know what I mean?
They
are things already zoned?
They are, yeah. Things are already zoned.
They are zoned, but the problem, so effectively the last, historically the problem has been that there's been the previous administration had their head up their ass, and so they didn't have the foresight to this has been a lingering issue with, you know, when I talk to, you know, Vinny and his business partners, Lang, his business partners, Flippy, his business partners, it's they're all looking for places, right? As are these smaller shops. The fact of the matter is that because the previous administration didn't do jack shit, didn't have the foresight, they allowed anybody and everybody to go just continue to buy business properties. As a side effect, now all these people own business properties and they're using it to do like God knows what, right? They don't
Storage,
even have
farming.
well, no. If they've got like farming and stuff like that, those are like actual business things. But there's like people living inside like
That too,
office buildings. There's like, you know, in other words, they're using it as just a warehouse. They're dummy warehouses. And while the argument could be made like, well, okay, well, the properties came out and they couldn't pass the legislation. Well, they had months to do so. So now we have a problem where effectively there's no value in the business license. There's no properties in it. So we have to come in and be the bad guy effectively and say, no, there's going to be taxes. Only if you've got the business license will you be able to operate these things. And what that means is like the mechanic shops that are going to be functioning, those are going to be the specific ones, and the other ones become illegal. And it's going to force their hand to either step the game up or like step aside.
And to that end, you know, there is clauses in the big PP that touch on all of that, like potentially clawing back commercial space that doesn't have a business operating out of it. And like you said, we are going to have to be the bad guy, but the fact of the matter is it has to happen.
Well, I mean, the alternative is like people just start kicking their feet and they don't see the bigger picture, and then we just say, all right, well, best of luck. Like, you know, I guess you can pay $50,000 for a business license, and what the fuck do you want us to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I did include that, like, if someone owns a commercial space, if they want to rent it out to someone operating a business out of that space, I see no problem in that.
Yeah.
It's not the ideal scenario, but it's better than saying the state's taking this building, you know, fuck your $330,000.
Exactly.
So.
It's going to be a stepwise thing. And, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, everyone's been on board. Except for I haven't talked to the Mirror podcast. I don't even know if they're really open ever, to be honest.
Kitsugi?
Yeah.
I've used them 3 or 4 times.
Maybe it's a time zone. I used to use it all the time, and then I don't see anyone over there. But that's good. I mean,
I know Hazel is kind of the one that's usually there, along with I'm gonna forget their name. Begins with a D. Bill or something.
Yeah.
Can't remember the name now all of a sudden. But I know Mary's been out of the city for quite a while. So she will be at this meeting. She just texted me.
interesting.
I think there's a mechanic named Ricardo that operates out of Mirror Park as well.
Well, while we got time then, I want to circle back on, what do you call it? I want to circle back on, fucking, the big peepee and the penis, because we got about an hour, and I think this kind of establishes a lot of the basic stuff. Could we, could you pass around the big peepee so everyone's got it?
Yeah, 1 second.
I'm holding it already. You don't have to send it to me.
I got a cup too.
Everyone gets the big peepee. Oh, yeah?
You got a cup?
I have it cupped.
What the hell does that mean?
Cupping it?
He's saying he's cupping the big PP.
What the fuck?
Tilly,
You got so much to learn.
As many double entendres you use, I'm surprised you didn't catch that.
What is cupping the pee-pee?
I'll show you later.
What the no? What? I'm calling Richard.
Everyone get that?
The cup
You
clause?
calling a dick?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's a nice guy. I wouldn't say he's a dick.
Well, if his name's Richard, he's a dick.
But no, he's pretty nice. He's pretty kind. I wouldn't say he's a
Oh
dick.
my god. You know, I know why you're firing her.
What? Nino?
Hmm?
Why aren't you saying anything?
What do you want me to say?
Is it true?
What about what?
I wasn't paying attention.
Bill, why are you starting drama during a meeting?
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, that's a good question, to be honest.
I'll tone down.
So here's how I think we go through this conversation. Let's start with the COC to make sure that we're not the COC legislation to make sure we don't double up. Like, you know, so we're not like rewriting shit that's already in here.
Yeah.
So I think COC mostly is just like,
Establishing the department.
yes. Let me see. Is there any language in there that we need to alter?
So what I'm seeing in the in review section right now is FOIA audit and PIP. I think I need to drag PP into that.
Yep.
And which COC would I drag into in review right now?
It's not the COC. I'm saying like you want to look at the one that's already in law, the Chamber of Commerce one.
In the
So-
LLC,
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to look through that just as a what do you call it? Have it fresh in our head. So as we're looking through Big PP and the other one, I want to make sure we're not like reaffirming things or like having any contradictory language between the three documents. Or what will
So
be
I-
the four documents?
I'm well versed in the COC legislation.
Oh, perfect.
The big mention is that it's going to be responsible for business registry and licensing,
Mhm.
which I believe I've aligned with the big PP. So the COC and the big PP are aligned. There is no actual like stipulations, regulations, protocols in the COC. It's just really establishing the structure of that department and establishing the department itself.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay. Okay, that is perfect. You want to kind of everyone's got access to the big PP?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Let's Michael, could you go through this with us and then we'll like collectively go through it, and if anyone has any issues or concerns, we'll go back to it. So big PP is like the overarching what is a business license? What does it mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's,
where
it's
is the PP?
basic foundation establishment of how to register as a business and what the basic requirements of a business are.
Oh, it's
We start with the application process. Basically, the Chamber of Commerce is going to offer support to applicants and also be responsible for the review of applications upon submission. I believe we set a business service standard in this legislation of 72 hours. So a person submits, the expectation is within 72 business hours, we will at least communicate with the applicant. It doesn't necessarily mean a decision needs to take place, but we will acknowledge receipt of the application and hopefully provide feedback. The legislation also provides the groundwork for the licensing and the costs associated with receiving a business.
yeah, Trello's been really good.
Effectively, upon approval of your business application, you will receive a business license. That license is tied to the business itself, not to the individual. So what that means is if I apply for a business for my graphic design, let's say, I can't just go and start up a farm as well under the same business license. I would have to reapply for that business and receive a second license for that second business venture. There would be a monthly fee of $50,000 to renew that business license. Ideally, that's pulled out of the business account automatically. If that amount of money is not available, the license will become suspended until payment is remitted. If it is not remitted within 7 days, that business license will be lost and the business owner will have to reapply for the license. Zoning, basically businesses are expected to operate out of a commercial or industrial space. As part of their application, they will have to prove ownership or the right to lawfully operate out of the business, which means they could potentially set up a rental agreement with the owner. Go ahead.
Some businesses don't require any brick and mortar. Have we covered
Yeah, that's why I
allowance?
raised.
Oh my God, how
that's
do
why
I-
raised, like, especially creative arts,
I
digital
don't see, like,
industries
a
may
mute
not
button,
require a
fuck.
brick and mortar. We will want to add something about that. I agree.
Oh,
Avalon.
1,000%.
The also biggest contention I see with this is lawyers and law firms. Depending on who's enforcing this, there might be an idiot who says, you're a lawyer, you're practicing law, where's your business license? So are we going to have stipulations for them, or a way for them to, because let's be honest, lawyers don't make a lot of money.
Yep.
Are we going to have a way for them to have more clearly defined expectations so they can operate as a lawyer or a law firm or conglomerate or whatever?
Do you think that that has to be done in this act, or
Yes.
in or I was going to say, or in the Penis Act, where we go into specific industries?
I think Penis Act it could, and then clearly state that it certain sections of the PP Act don't apply to that classification.
Yeah,
Also,
I'm happy with either, honestly.
service professions do not require a brick and mortar. It needs to specifically
Well,
in there.
that depends though, right? Because a mechanic is a service provider, and they will require a brick and mortar. So
So why would it, like, a mechanic's driving a tow truck around?
That would fall under tow operator.
right.
So I want to be.
I do get what you're saying.
I want to be careful with calling it a tow operator, because running tow inherently does not require a business license. It's going to be like a tow shop, right? Which are going to get the extra
shop, yeah.
privileges. Yep. Okay. Sorry. Where are you now?
We're still under zoning at this point. I was waiting, hoping that Abilene had an example of service provider, because I agree with her.
Oh yeah, what do you? Okay.
But like what type of service provider? Like, can you give me an example of one that wouldn't require a brick and mortar outside of like
One that
digital
wouldn't?
services?
Lawyer, therapist,
A food truck.
Well, those-
party, birthday clown.
Okay, so yeah, okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I think that would fall under Bill's Act as well.
Yeah, I can go into specific professions and services through that. That way, it's specific. You're the overreaching authority.
Yeah. Okay.
Or overacting, not reaching.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Why can't we just narrow it down to if you're dealing in providing goods and basically goods or materials, you need a brick and mortar. I just feel like a lot of other things don't necessarily first, and it'll help these people get their idea off the ground, and it will be very daunting to those who feel like they need to purchase a $2 million building or something to, like, I don't know.
I think no matter which way you cook it, like, so let's use your goods and materials example, then we're going to have to add stipulations that people who work lumber and potentially sell lumber do not need a business license, right? Or are we can't require them to have a business license. It's a job. They just go up to Toledo and sign in with Axel.
If they're building and selling furniture, that's a different story.
That's manufacturing though,
yeah,
right?
And
Yeah.
they definitely...
Interior decorators build furniture and sell furniture. They don't need a brick and mortar. So the semantics like can go straight down the rabbit hole. Like it's
yeah.
Bro, my phone is fucking blowing up right now. What the fuck?
Well, this is why I think the original system was trying to, like, target this idea. I don't know if you have a tablet, but if you hit new request on business proposals, it makes you, select between 8 different classes, and we'll never know what the definitive intentions were.
Wait, the amount of requests went down. Did they time out?
I get exactly what you're saying, and I agree entirely. It's just something that I think I'm going to have to kind of take back to my desk and think about how to sum it up, because I think to all our points, you could go down a rabbit hole here that would lead you into like a 30-page piece of legislation, which I don't want to happen.
No, I could definitely solve something like that in half a page.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if
So
you
what
wanna
is
click on it as
the
well.
contention? Because I'm trying to, I think I'm.
You don't want to be too daunting in presenting the restriction that
Yeah.
the brick and mortar must be purchased, because it'll just scare people out of it. I think
I
specifically
kind of agree with that.
Yeah. There are going to be some things that the expectation should be that you have a brick and mortar, but I'm inclined to agree with Abilene that there are some services that people provide that may require them to, have a business license to operate, but not necessarily a brick and mortar location.
I
Wouldn't
think
they be considered contractors though? Not a business.
No.
so. I think at the end of the day, right? Some of these determinations don't even need to necessarily be in legislation itself.
Could we make it part of the application, Nino, where we ask them to list the location or provide an explanation of why they don't need a location to operate their business?
Exactly. And I think that's how it should be written, is that the businesses should have a brick and mortar. However, in the event that their business does not need one, then that explanation should be in the proposal itself.
Agreed. Okay.
So,
love it.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Section 4, accounting and taxation. Abilene, this is going to entirely fall onto you. This, as I've come to understand, is your expertise. It's your wheelhouse. I have some notes at the end of the legislation. Yeah, Section 4. I have notes at the end of the legislation from a conversation that Nino and I had that's going to have some basically high-level details, but I would like you to take the lead on the entire financial, accounting, and taxation aspect.
Why does my Section 4 say food carts?
Are we looking at the same one?
No. I'm looking.
Yeah, you're good. You're looking at the penis, I'm guessing. You should be looking at the PP.
We keep.
Yeah.
So we should get rid of this $50,000 renewal fee. I think that's excessive. I think the way that I want to rely on it is every business is going to be paying anywhere from 5 to 20% tax. 10% is going to be the baseline across the board. And we will lean on the LSPD and make sure they are rebuffed. Like, they are going to we're going to make sure that they're going to be the people that we will empower to be able to, like, if someone's doing sussy baka shit, we're going to make sure that they're empowered, that those businesses can be audited. Now,
okay.
Then by leaving it simply on taxation, we then, in a later point, right, let people fuck around and find out, right? Like, hide their funds, whatever. And the reason why I like the 10% is that we don't want to stop the small business that doesn't make a lot of money, like a hookah shop, be pushed out, right?
Yeah.
Because they may be providing culture. But at the same time, if people are like, they have a hookah shop, but they're pushing like $1 million worth of shit through their books, but then subsequently, they're not paying the tax, the LSPD are going to, at a later point, and this is a separate discussion, have the legislation necessary to get the auditing and then repossess shit. You know what I mean?
Okay, so as a counter, then could we set up like a one-time fee of $25,000 for the license?
It should be a one-time fee of $50,000.
50. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
And
okay,
then
that's great. I think that's perfect. So in enforcement, basically the cabinet and the COC are going to conduct site visits.
Do you mind
with
updating
sufficient
this
notice.
like as we go, just so?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, that'd be.
I like the idea of site visits.
Now, I do think at a baseline that businesses that show consistent low or 0%, like $0 income are subject to removal.
Or
So like
closure,
dead
yeah.
closure, yeah. Because dead businesses, we want to get rid of that. But putting any hard numbers on putting hard numbers on anything is impossible, because there's going to be once again, businesses that make $10,000 a month, and then businesses that make like $1 million a month, and there's no like, you know, one size that's going to fit them all, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I want to take a step back and kind of give you the vision here, right?
Yeah, of course.
Is right now inherently there is no value in owning a business license. It's why people just do whatever the fuck they want. And so in order to make value in owning a business, we need to bake in the benefits. And one of those benefits is going to be if you operate it, right, you are legally operating it. Now, once enough of these businesses come into place and they're, we're incentivizing it, and now there's enough business, we then can flip the switch and say, if you are operating a business illegally, like we're going to start this with the mechanic shops and start it with the tow, right? These are like our stars of the show.
Yep.
Once we flip that switch and people are operating like an unsanctioned business, that's when they get their fucking doors kicked in and we get our properties back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all going to be stepwise.
Okay, so I've added the 50,000 one time. I've added businesses showing little to no revenue will be subject to closure. Back to enforcement, the cabinet and the Chamber of Commerce are basically going to be enforcing the protocols established by the Act. And if during a site visit it's suspected that criminal activity is occurring, then that would fall to the LSPD.
Correct.
Penalties then would be potential warnings from the Cabinet or Chamber of Commerce, fines, or loss of license. And where crimes are occurring, they would be subject to the penal code, basically. Fines, prison time, or otherwise. On the ownership front, Nino,
okay.
I saw that you struck out the stipulations I put in on people with terrorism, treason, and so on the record, not owning a business.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, anyone, if some like gangbanger terrorist or whatever puts up a building and, pays their taxes, let them do it, We want to open the doors for fraudulent behavior, but then open the doors for like law enforcement to actually look into these places and shut them down.
Okay, then I would argue if we're removing C, we should remove D as well. Leaving only that owners must be in good financial standing, right? We can't have people applying for and being expected to run businesses when they're 500 grand in the hole.
Agreed. Yep.
And then businesses being subject to site visits from the Chamber of Commerce with notice. Go ahead.
I wanted to touch on, I guess, Article D underneath Section 7. We're there, right?
Yeah, I said if we're removing C, we should remove D.
Okay, because I was going to say, if we're going to keep D, the wording should more be like, reach out to a member of the cabinet to schedule a panel hearing. We shouldn't just say any member of the cabinet can just handle the appeal, right? We got to make it sound more.
Yeah.
Wait, which one?
D, which is going to be removed because we're removing C. But
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think restrictions aren't the move. As I think our general concern is pay your taxes and you're going to be fine. If you don't pay your taxes, you're going to get fucked.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Moving to Section 8. Businesses
Wait,
that have
there's
already...
a person. Wait, what?
Sorry, I just saw that on Twitter.
No, you don't have to apologize. What the fuck, though? Wait,
Apologies,
man
Kevin.
wasn't lying about the bombs. I found one at Senior Bar. Wait, what?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what's going on. Somebody apparently has been going around talking about bombs on Twitter, and one of them
Got
said
a
that
bomb
there's
at the
somebody
courthouse
actually
asking for the mayor.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, luckily we don't meet there anymore.
Wait, Michael Metropolis, State Marshal, call me. I planted 14 bombs around the city.
Oh God, that guy's doing it.
They're
Jesus
trying to say
fuck.
that you're the bomb, you know.
Jesus Christ.
That
Oh.
guy, I watched him at a bench trial the other day, self-incriminating like crazy. He's fucking insane. That guy needs to be 5150'd.
Bomb this.
I had someone call me an hour or two ago about how he wanted his demands met. I thought he was joking.
All right, good to move to section 8 here.
Yeah, I just got to find out what we're doing with this like bomb shit.
All right, take your time. Let me know when you're ready.
I think.
Hello.
Hey, Daisy, there's some bomb shit happening. Am I gonna be needed for that?
What are you referring to?
Someone's claiming to have planted 14 bombs around the city, and apparently there's one at Senior Buns right now.
What?
Yeah, you know,
Where are you seeing this?
on Twata. And
All right.
then, yeah.
All right. I will. I'll get units on it.
All right, easy. Let me know if I need
All
to be
right.
down there. Otherwise, I'm gonna keep cooking. Cause
Okay. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I would definitely say stay away from the bomb.
All right, easy.
Okay.
I
All
don't
right.
think there was
I'll get units
was
on it
there?
right now.
All right,
Thank you.
easy. Anytime.
Bye.
Take care.
Kind of meet him halfway with that.
I
Your
don't think there
grandfather,
was
the
one.
license fee.
The fee, right? So they don't have to pay it twice, but they gotta understand it's gotta all be resubmitted.
Nino,
speak
do you
up,
know if
Nino?
there was a fee for business licenses under Max?
There was.
Was there? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was 50,000. Something like that.
50,000.
Yeah.
Abilene was just saying her idea was that existing businesses would need to reapply because basically we don't have a record of who they are. though.
We like, I don't want to be. We cannot be greedy in any of this. Like even, like, there's like perfection, right?
Michael,
Like
you didn't finish telling him the
Oh, yeah.
rest of what I
Let him
said.
finish. Let him finish.
about waiving the fee. They would
You look like an
reapply.
idiot here.
Right? Sorry.
Oh.
they would have to reapply, but we wouldn't charge them twice, just so we had a record of who is already approved and operating.
Because it's been
Not to
too
mention-
far gone at this
Yeah, some
point.
people may not
Oh.
fit
It's
in.
too far
Right.
gone. So make them resubmit the application in our format, in our form. We'll just once over them real quick. Oh, we see they had an existing business. We waive the fee for the business. They get approved.
I would agree with that if there was a lot of businesses, but there's only 14. I want to be, because here's how I look at it, guys, right? Businesses got so fucked under Max that I guarantee you the way that the mentality in the city is that people have a different percentage of grinder mentality, right? And I'm just shooting it straight, right? And this is going to sound fucking toxic, but like, you know, just bear with me here. There is such a grinder mentality that is deep rooted into our psyche that when we reduce the tow pay to make way for tow businesses, people are having literal week-long aneurysms and didn't know what to do with their life. There are people that Tilly, who was poor Tilly here, just wanted to write some pet legislation, and it turned out that we have to be considerate that if the dog dies, people may have out-of-body experiences related to it, right? And while this, and the reason I'm painting these realities is that even though from our perspective, this is very like sane level of thinking that we're doing here, we have to really go in very delicately, because even the moment someone hears that they're going to have to be taxed, they're going to be thinking about how many extra minutes that they're going to have to work in order to get their next supercar or whatever, like fucking brain dead argument that they've got in their mind. You know what I mean? So
in regards to getting businesses on board with this and benefits, the map that's going to be on the website, could we like kind of use that as a bit of an incentive that once you're approved as a business, you and your business's location and like phone numbers and associated things would be pinned on the map as part of that whole
yes,
Yeah, that was the plan, yeah.
absolutely.
because we're trying to incentivize the business thing, and this is a way of like encouraging, like, you don't need to advertise, you're being advertised.
Hey,
Like, just through
absolutely.
this.
So the reason I even brought this up, and I'm being very like just straightforward about the reality of things, is we are not going to be looked at as, we could even, like, the benefits are great, right? But people are going to think about, oh my God, I have to give $1. They're not going to necessarily see the vision, because our society in Los Santos is very satisfy now, don't think about your future driven. So while I think generally speaking, like the ideas of like reapplying and all these things, like I think are very good and extremely beneficial for us, people aren't going to see that. You know what I mean?
Right. And this is a way to circumvent that whole like reapplying to us. Instead of saying reapplying to us, if you're an approved business, please come contact us to put you on the map. You know, that would be a way to circumvent making people think that this is some sort of scam. We're not asking for more money. We're just asking for the businesses that are active to come to us.
Yeah.
I think if it's only 14 though, it's fine. Like 14 is not shit.
Yeah,
you know,
I'd say
a really low number. I thought it was more.
I wouldn't even, like, our goal right now should be every new business and existing business starts paying the tax. Am I kind of making sense? Like, kind of like the purview I'm putting here is like.
Yeah, well, a couple of these existing businesses are actually running out of a residential property, and there's got to be some checkpoint they need to hit again for us to review the legitimacy of that.
I agree, but let's worry about that on stage 2. You know what I mean? Like, think of it right now, we're saying we're going to throw a rope out and we're going to say, all right, let's catch what we can, right? And then we're going to start squeezing the noose. Because if we squeeze it too much, and even like the residential property thing, I agree with that. We could put it in writing and then worry about closing a shop like that down the line. You know what I mean? Like, let's not worry too much about the well, like, what's running right now out of residential?
I think possibly hold on, let me look at my tablet.
While you're looking, just quickly to go over how I have existing businesses mapped out right now, it's basically that any existing business has 2 weeks to become compliant, and the Chamber of Commerce will set up a site visit to verify that they're operating within the Big PP Act requirements. So basically leaving everything, as you said, Nino, to down the line. We're not even mentioning a date for when a site visit may be set up. I think that's fine. Leave it loose. It's
people are very sensitive to their money and restrictions. They don't see, you know, remember, we're dealing with a lot of children. It is what it is. But restrictions in time. So let's kind of circle back to this.
Lastly, it's really just implementation where the legislation is tasking the Chamber of Commerce with getting the applications and the systems necessary to enact the legislation in place immediately. The application is going to happen through the tablet, and I've outlined what the questions in the application are earlier in the legislation. I'm trying not to be overly prescriptive in the implementation section, but if you want me to bolster it, I can. But really, it's just, this is the Cox responsibility.
Yeah, I think this is really good.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think the big thing I want to see in here is how Abby goes about dealing with the taxation portion, because that is is the most important. That is going to be the linchpin. That is how us, the government, can shut down businesses. And I'm going to sound a little notorious here, right? Those residential, and this is how I'm going to come sideways, right? Those businesses that we're identifying, or like some of these other problems, if we see a problem with it, we send the fucking cops at it.
Yeah.
We say, I don't know. They're saying they only made $100 this week.
What is your thought on reestablishing a treasurer position down the line?
I like the idea.
Okay. I would like to talk to you sometime, maybe an email, about available data that we have thus far on sort of, I don't even know how to say this here. Like, because right now, if you have a food stall, right, you're paying the sales tax, and then the owners are going to be back, and then they're collecting their overall income, which I think might be getting taxed there as well. I'm not sure, so that's what I wanted to ask you. And then I wanted to ask how, if someone has the registered business license, is there a special app for that? Because I don't personally have a business, so I never had access to any app that would be associated with that. You know, sort of what that looks like, and if we need to create a rule like all sales for the business need to be done electronically, and if not, then some other stipulation to
Those tools aren't in place yet.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, as an employee of the lumber company, I know Wyatt has access to the business app, and he brought me on it, but I can't actually see or do anything on it whatsoever, and it doesn't really have much functionality at all at the moment. We should talk to Wyatt more about what it can and can't do, because I know he's got the most experience.
Yeah, it's and the way that those are being given out, like I've asked the question so many times, and it's very like, who gives you the bank account? You know what I mean? I think a handful of bank accounts were given to a handful of companies, and then they haven't been handing them out anymore. It's very, the entire system is very, so, okay. This is what I've been told. So, and this is something that's going to need to be explained at the mechanic meeting as well, is that a lot of people want things, right? Mechanic shops want things, but until they can start establishing themselves as like legitimate tax-paying businesses and showing that they're putting in the legwork, only then can I, as the mayor, be like, hey, look at what they're doing here. Let's make it in city, you know, like in city software, as opposed to backwards. And
well, there's an issue right now. If business bank accounts are no longer being issued, that really muddies the water of trying to audit someone's business income. Because if we can reestablish that businesses, once approved, do have the business account, I believe we should add the stipulation that all transactions associated with that business revenue must be deposited into the business account, and depositing it anywhere else could be considered tax evasion.
I think
once they have it in the business account, if they want to take it out and do costs, whatever, but then at least we see all that revenue, what's coming in, and then how they want to spend it on them. They're going to be taxed on what they're bringing in.
Now, there is currently no tax charges, so we'd have to do that, but there is an embezzlement charge that we could utilize if necessary.
Embezzlement
really?
Yeah, specifically to read it out, the fraudulent appropriation of finances and or assets by an employee of a business or a government employee. This includes the uses of assets or finances for unofficial, personal, or criminal purposes and or enrichment. So just that part alone, you could use if somebody puts it in their own account.
Let me get an answer for this again.
Embezzlement's a different thing than tax evasion.
Where's
I'm saying we
Wyatt?
could use it for the time being for the right things, but not necessarily for a tax-related thing. We would have to make new legislation for taxes.
Hey, Wyatt, I got a question for you.
Yes.
How did you go about getting your business bank account?
So, whenever I got the license, Shaban had called me and was like, "Hey, we approved your license. What's your state ID? Because Crane needs to bill you for the license." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And then it came out of the account, and then it just happened. I guess once they approved the business.
Oh, it just popped up.
Yeah.
Okay. What is based on how difficult is it? So okay, we're gonna be charging 10% tax on all businesses.
Okay.
And we're going to be setting an expectation that sales data needs to be collected by the business for auditing purposes, et cetera, et cetera. What is like, would that be challenging for a business like yours? Like, I mean, you're
Nope.
the most easy.
It'd be like, okay, I'm gonna send you something that gets logged every single week. I have a payroll sheet, right?
Yep.
Where every single sale that my sales team makes has to be inputted into this payroll sheet, and it breaks down the entire thing, how much goes
Actually,
through.
Wyatt, do me a favor. Come down to the spot on occupation. I'd like you to be a part of this conversation.
Okay, I'll be there in a minute.
All right. See you in a bit.
I see.
Things
All
to be
right.
done in the city, and I tell them some of the things that they've been telling me. You need to just take that as a business. Take that on your own. Don't expect the mayor or the federal to make these things happen. This is something you should aspire to work towards in the city.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I think you're gonna do great, Nino.
Nino,
So-
Thank you.
I just let Abby and Mina know that effectively we'll be moving the chains on the Chamber of Commerce from here on out.
I'm sorry, say again?
I let Mina and Abby know. We had our conversation earlier that between the three of us, we'll be kind of moving the chains.
Yes.
Like making progress with the Chamber of Commerce.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what do you call it? Wyatt is on the way down. He has a payroll system. And I figured like we want him over here because I think him having that experience with businesses gives us insight as to the toolings that he has, the difficulties, and with Wyatt working with us on like the material front with the reserve, I think what do you call it? Some of these questions that we don't have answers for, he should be able to answer. One thing, we should, Mina, could you get in contact with all of them to let them know that the meeting will take place over here? The mechanic meeting?
You want them to come here instead?
Yeah, let's have them come over here if we can.
Okay, I'll go ahead and tell them.